Most gardeners spend entire weekends on their knees, digging, hilling, earthing up, then wondering why their back hurts and their yield disappoints. What if every single one of those steps was completely unnecessary? What if the ground you are breaking your back over is actually working against you? There is one technique that flips everything you think you know about growing potatoes upside down. No digging, no hilling, no back-breaking labor. And the results? More potatoes, less work, and a soil that gets healthier with every single harvest. In the next few minutes, you're going to see exactly how this method works. From the first chit on the seed potato all the way to harvest. Every step filmed, every result real. But here is the part nobody talks about. The secret ingredient in this technique costs almost nothing, and most people either throw it away or never think to use it in a vegetable bed. Once you see what it does to the soil beneath your potatoes, you will never plant them any other way again. Stay with us, because the harvest reveal at the end of this video will completely change the way you look at your garden. Before modern agriculture turned potato growing into a heavily mechanized process, with plows, ridgers, and chemical fertilizers, smallholders and kitchen gardeners across Britain and Ireland understood something that has largely been forgotten. The soil does the work, if you let it. The practice of covering the ground with organic material, hay, straw, bracken, dried grass, is one of the oldest soil management techniques in existence. It mimics the natural leaf litter of a forest floor, where organic matter breaks down slowly, feeding the soil from the top downward, suppressing competing growth and holding moisture in place. Somewhere along the way, gardeners were convinced that potatoes need to be buried deep, earthed up repeatedly, and grown in precisely prepared, heavily tilled beds. The result? More work, more disturbance, and often no better a harvest. The method you are about to see challenges all of that. It uses a thick layer of hay as a living mulch, placed directly over seed potatoes that have barely been pushed into the soil. The hay suppresses weeds, retains moisture, and as it breaks down, feeds the ground beneath. The potatoes do not fight the soil, they grow with it. The process begins 4 to 6 weeks before planting. Take your seed potatoes and place them in egg boxes or a shallow tray, making sure the end with the most eyes is facing upward. Set them somewhere cool, light, and frost-free. A windowsill, a cool room, a frost-free shed with natural light. All work well. What you are doing here is called chitting. You are encouraging short, sturdy sprouts, known as chits, to develop from the eyes of the potato. These chits give the plant a head start the moment it goes into the ground. You are looking for compact green-purple shoots, roughly 1 to 2 centimeters long. Avoid pale, leggy shoots, which are a sign of too little light. Those tend to be weak and snap easily at planting. The variety used in this trial was Castrol, a second early. According to data from multiple UK seed potato suppliers, second earlies are typically ready to harvest anywhere between 13 and 16 weeks after planting, depending on the variety and the season. This makes them ideal for a summer harvest without tying up bed space for the entire growing year. Here is where this method diverges completely from conventional advice. Instead of digging a trench or burying the potato 10 centimeters deep, you simply press each chitted seed potato just 2 to 3 centimeters into the soil surface, barely more than a firm press downward. Space them roughly 30 centimeters apart in each direction. That is it. No trench, no mound, no earthing up later. Once all your seed potatoes are placed, lay a generous, thick layer of hay directly over them. Do not skimp here. You want a layer substantial enough to block light from reaching the soil beneath, which is what prevents weed germination. A single standard bale of hay or straw is typically enough to cover a bed of approximately 4 feet by 6 feet, roughly 120 by 180 centimeters. If it is a windy day, place a few sticks or stones on the hay to hold it in position. Within a few days, the weight of the material itself will compact it down enough that it stays put. If your soil was dry at planting time, give the whole bed a thorough watering before or immediately after laying the mulch. The hay will then hold that moisture in place, reducing how often you need to water throughout the season. Within a few weeks, the potato plants will push through the mulch entirely on their own. The stems are strong enough to find their way through the hay, while any weed seedlings, which lack that same vigor, simply cannot compete and fail to establish. As the season progresses, the hay breaks down slowly from the bottom up, releasing organic material back into the soil directly beneath the developing tubers. You are not just suppressing weeds, you are actively building soil structure at exactly the point where the potatoes need it most. By the time harvest comes, the mulch layer will have decomposed significantly. To harvest, you simply pull back the remaining hay and the potatoes are lying there, at or just below the soil surface, ready to lift with almost no digging at all. It is a reveal moment, clean tubers, sitting just under a layer of broken down organic matter, exactly where the work happened. The tubers grown in this trial were plentiful, clean, and well-formed. A result that reflects both the variety chosen and the consistent growing conditions the mulch created throughout the season. So if this method is so effective, and the evidence from this trial suggests it clearly is, why is it not what every gardening guide, every seed packet, every television program recommends? The answer is uncomfortable, but worth saying clearly. The conventional model of potato growing sells things. It sells cultivators and rotavators, earthing up tools, specialist fertilizers, and the idea that you need to constantly intervene in your garden to get results. A technique that requires a bale of hay, a handful of seed potatoes, and a few minutes of your time does not move product off shelves. What it does do is move you toward a garden that requires less of your money and more of your observation. That is a shift that the industry has very little interest in encouraging. There's also the matter of what happens after harvest, and this is where most home growers make avoidable mistakes. Once you lift your potatoes, sort them immediately. Any tubers with cuts, bruises, or soft spots should be set aside and eaten first. Damaged potatoes deteriorate faster, and when stored alongside sound ones, can cause surrounding tubers to rot in a chain reaction that ruins an entire batch. Sound potatoes for longer storage should go into a breathable sack. A Hessian or jute bag works well, because the woven fibers allow moisture to escape while blocking out light. Contrary to what is often repeated, the ideal long-term storage temperature for potatoes is between 5 and 10 degrees Celsius. A cool, dark shed, garage, or pantry is typically ideal. Temperatures above this will promote early sprouting. Below 5 degrees, the starch in the potato begins converting to sugar, which affects both flavor and texture. Never store potatoes in plastic bags, which trap moisture and accelerate rot. This season, before you reach for a spade, stop. Get a bale of hay. Press your chitted seed potatoes into the ground. Cover them. Walk away. Lift the hay when the season is done and find what is waiting underneath. The soil was never the obstacle. It was always the solution.